Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Try and shout over the noise. I've just changed things around for my winter setup, so I thought I'd just quickly sort of show it while it's going. That's my little heater. Now it does oscillate, but at the moment it's making a sort of jerky movement, so I need to look into it. So at the moment it isn't oscillating, but what it is connected to is that circulating fan up there, and then it's also, they're both wired in to that little thermostatic control there. And what I end up doing is setting that thermostat for a daytime temperature when I get up in the morning, a suitable time, and that allows the daytime temperature out here on colder days to rise up sort of 3 or 4 degrees. It's quite important to get that differential. And then when I go to bed, I reset the thermostat down to 15, and it's got a tolerance of my choice, either 1 degree up to 8 degrees I think it is, but I usually have a tolerance of 1 degree. Now in theory I've just changed that thermostat to actually kick these on so that you can see them working, but the heater and the top fan, which obviously heat rises, goes up near the roof, and that fan distributes that heat and stops any one plant getting too hot. It should never stay on that long, quite honestly. I probably overcooked the thermostat at the moment, but it might cut out in a minute, you never know. And then separately controlled, I've still got the big circulating fan and my little air cleaner, which has now come up higher. And in theory it's now going to do a better job because it's sitting right in front of the circulating fan, which means these little ions that it's producing, that's its function basically, are now going to get wafted around with the circulating fan on a much better basis and higher up in the room. So it should actually do some more good now. And those two are operated on that electronic timer up there, which I've programmed to have a start time and an end time. Those two units only come on in the daytime. Okay, my nighttime circulation is still based on these little PC fans that run 24/7. Yeah, they're just on a little adapter. They're little 12-volt computer cooling fans basically. They're dirt cheap. The most expensive bit was the adapter to convert the mains to 12 volts, but yeah, they work okay. There's a few of them dotted around. So yeah, that's really the winter setup. Doesn't look like much has changed. I've unwired one of the foggers, so there's only one now. That gives me a lot more space to stick my plants when I'm watering. Add a bit of a tidy up as well. And in another, probably only a week or, there we go. That's the thermostat just kicked in and cuts out the heater and the top fan. And then obviously the temperature drops down and it kicks them both in again. Well, those little units are dirt cheap on eBay, made in China, and just do the job, quite honestly. I just wish their humidistats were equally as accurate. See, that one up there now says the humidity in here is 100%. Oh, like hell it is. That's more like a realistic humidity in here, 80%. That's far more like it. And even that's probably reading a fraction high. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you around. It doesn't look like that much has changed, but there's a hell of a lot of wiring involved. You know, undoing wires from one unit, wiring them into another unit, checking everything's safe, or as safe it is for me anyway. There's only me in here basically, you know, so if I get a belt, so be it. Anyway, so those are the changes really. Heater in place, connected jointly to that and to the thermostat, which will have a daytime temperature and a nighttime temperature. That can only happen if I change it. That's a manual thing that I have to do. But the bottom line is, if it stays on the nighttime temperature, then out here isn't going to drop much below 15 degrees, which is what I want. I'd like the daytime to go up, but if I'm not here to change it, as long as it doesn't drop down too low for a day or two, that's the important thing. And then, as I said, on a timer is my little air cleaner and the main circulating fan. It's quite incredible that the much bigger fan makes hardly any noise at all compared with the smaller one. That just runs so quietly, that fan. I'm really pleased with that. Not quite so pleased with that one, but then it was very cheap. Okay, job's still to go. I've still got bubble wrapping to think of. My daughter seems to think I should have a go at bubble wrapping the whole of the outside. The roof is done, that's done on the inside, that stays in place year round basically. But yeah, if I bubble wrapped the outside and battened it down pretty firmly, that would block up the air vents, save me doing that as a separate thing, and give me some pretty good insulation, and also allow me to take off the last layer of shade netting, because that stays on. I can't have direct sun in through glass on all of these plants. Some of them would take it, but not all of them, so I can't risk it. So even the winter sun doesn't come directly through the glass. But if I had bubble wrap round the outside, that would serve two purposes. One, it would stop the drafts. Two, extra insulation. Three purposes. And three, take away that direct light through the glass. Bit fiddly to do, but it's got to be done. Now the rest of the day I was going to try and get the shade netting off the roof. The camera doesn't show it very well. You can see the dark line, that's where it ends, and the Vandas don't have any shade netting, they get the brightest light. So that really needs to come off this time of year now, and there's still two layers on that end wall. One of those layers is going to come off. Well, I'm going to go out and do getting that layer off. That's easy to do, it's just a few screws, roll it up and put it in the shed. However, the roof involves steps and things like that, and I've had a lot of mucking about today with other things, nothing to do with orchids, and we're getting to the I've nearly had enough point. You know what I mean, everybody gets to that point. And I'm nearly reaching it, so that's probably it for today now. I'll just get that end shade netting off and leave it at that. Then we'll think about some other things to do for next weekend after this dratted jewellery service is finished and I get my time back. Okay, see you again next time. Thanks for dropping by.